Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a portrait retouching tutorial. So I just felt like doing a full start to finish edit on one of my beauty images today and taking you guys along through the process and what I do from start to finish. I think it's always good to do a few of these types of videos every now and then so you guys can see how my style of retouching is actually changing as well as I refine my skills and go along with my career. I think I tend to make certain changes as I go along, and lately I've been really keeping things a lot more simple with my retouching. I haven't been going too deep into every pore, not that I feel that that's something that you need to do most of the time anyway, but I've found myself definitely sticking to a more natural style of retouching lately. So anyway, we're going to get straight into the video and I'm going to retouch this image here. I decided to pick something that was a little bit more up close because I haven't done a lot of retouching videos on more macro shots or more shots that don't actually show the whole face. And sometimes they can be more challenging styles of photographs to edit. So I'm going to get my dodge and burn layers up as usual. If you guys have not watched my dodge and burn tutorials, I have quite a few listed in the description box below. I have done so many dodge and burn tutorials over the years, so I'm not going to go too deep into this info. Just going to bring up my dodge and burn adjustment layers and rename them. And then I'm also going to get up another layer here, just a new layer called healing. And I'll use the healing tools to remove any tiny little blemishes, although the model Jess has barely any blemishes on her face. She's got great skin, so hopefully it's not going to be too long of a tutorial today. But I'm just gonna get the healing brush tool over here, the spot healing brush tool. And I'm just gonna move over a couple of things in the image that just kind of might be seen as a little bit of a distraction, but like I said, there's really not much in terms of blemishes. I'm just going to remove a couple of stray eyebrow hairs up the top here, just to tidy them up a bit. And I'm also just gonna remove this. Easy. Okay, so I think for the most part that is pretty much the healing layer for me. I don't really think there's too much more that I have to do there. Like I said, she's got amazing, amazing skin. So I really don't think we should sort of touch that too much more. I do tend to tidy up the brows a little bit, but I prefer not to go too overboard with them because I like to keep that kind of natural effect still there. I'm just gonna see if the spot healing brush tool is gonna cooperate with me on this one little bit of creasing here, just underneath the eye. That's good, and we will fix and tidy that up with dodge and burn a little bit more. So I'm going to get into the dodge layer now, getting my brush quite soft, making sure it's soft and a little bit smaller than this, probably around about 100 pixels for now. The flow is going to be set to 1%, and I'm going to make sure that the brush settings over here, we're going to click transfer and make sure that pen pressure is selected so we can get a bit more of a softer effect. Now with this type of image, because I said as well that Jessica's skin is so good, I don't want to zoom in too far and start retouching every little pore because it's going to make her skin actually look very untextured and very doll-like. So I'm going to stay this far out and just making that my coloring just over here is set to white. I'm just going to start filling in some of these areas that sort of appear a little bit more uneven. I do feel that lately I've sort of been working towards a bit more of an in-between. Like you know how there is usually the two categories with dodge and burn of global and local dodging and burning. And local dodging and burning is done quite close up when you're zooming into the skin, very close up. And global is kind of done a little bit further out like this, but with a bigger brush and doing sort of bigger strokes. I find that I've been sort of doing a bit more of an in-between global and local dodging and burning style lately. So kind of like this. So zoomed out a bit further, but with a smaller brush, just to get into those areas that do require a little bit more evenness. And we can't forget to keep using the burn tool as well. So I'm going to switch over to that just now. And I'm going to make sure that I keep as much texture here intact as possible. I'm just going with the burn tool over just to kind of even that out and not make it look too much like I've gone over it heavily with the dodge tool either. It's good to sort of sit about this far back from the image at times, because you can see that you're not really, or you can see when you're sort of taking too much texture away with dodge and burn. So that's kind of the good thing about being a little bit more zoomed out and not so close in. So I'm just going to continue extending the dodging just down here above the lips and making sure that we are evening out the skin tone as much as possible here. And now I'm going to just brighten up the eye area while I'm over in this section. Just a little bit more under the eye to really brighten up that eye. And just around the makeup as well. Just going to touch up these areas with dodge and burn just on the makeup as well around the eye. And just create a little bit more evenness there. And I'm going to run the burn tool just over the lashes just to darken them up a little bit. This is just a little trick that I've been doing lately just to kind of make the eyes stand out even more and the makeup, but without going too in depth with drawing lashes on if I don't have to. And same thing with the brows. Just going to fill in a few little gaps there just with the burn tool. Just make them look a little bit more tidy. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a before and after so far of what we've done. So that's what dodging has done. We've really kind of like lightened up this area here, brightened it up a little bit and evened it out. And this is what the burn tool has also done. So we're just kind of helping that along with dodge as well. I'm just going to get the burn tool and just make this area here look a little bit more even. I always find that I'm very delicate with the under eye area just because one sort of slight move a lot of the time, wrong move underneath the eyes, and the whole image just can look like it starts to take on a bit of a fake effect. So we don't want that. So I'm just going to get dodges. So I'm going to get dodge as well just to once again blend that in a little bit more. So now I'm going to make my brush size just a little bit bigger because there's not too much that we really have to do with dodging and burning on the skin from here. I really want to keep that natural look and highlight to the skin at the moment. Don't really want to remove that. I'm just going to do a little bit more global style dodging and burning. Make the brush a little bit bigger again. And go over some of the highlights just on the skin. And now get the burn tool, and we're just going to even out this area over here a little bit more. And I'm just going to go back to the healing layer now just to kind of remove a few more little blemishes or little areas on the lips that are just taken away from that little bit more evenness. And just a few more on the skin tone as well. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys another quick before and after now just to show you guys what I have done. So this is the before and then this is the after. So it's just quite a natural look that we're going for with the image, and the retouching has just really filled in some of those areas that just looked a little bit uneven. But overall, as I said, Jessica's skin is great, so I don't really want to take away from the fact that naturally her skin looks amazing. We're just going to leave it, I think, like that for now. One thing I am going to do now though is start a color grade. So as you guys know, I like to start with a black and white layer, and we're going to bring out a little bit more of the texture in the skin tone and a bit more depth. So I usually set this black and white layer to luminosity, and then bring down the yellows and the reds, usually when I'm working with this layer. So it just kind of like makes that texture stand out a little bit more, as you can kind of see there. We're not going to go too far down though, because I think this really suits, and this lighting suits with her skin being pale as it is, and I don't want to make it look too contrasted. So that's probably good like that, just giving a little bit more depth and shadow to the skin. Now I'm going to get a luminosity mask up, and I usually do this by going to the RGB in channels and holding down Control and clicking on RGB, and that will give me the brightest parts of the image selected. I'll then go back to layers and then create a new adjustment layer for this selection in levels. And then I'll just bring up the brightness a little bit just to give it a slight amount more contrast. So you can see that's really brightened up the brighter areas again and given us a little bit more of a stronger highlight. And now I'm going to go to a selective color layer. So I'm going to bring up another adjustment layer and bring up selective color. And usually neutrals, whites and blacks are the ones that I like to work with the most here, because that will make the most difference to the image in terms of coloring. And then I'm just going to experiment with a few different color grades here. And I'm going to try the blacks this time, and I'm going to go for kind of like a film look, I think, with this style of photograph. We'll go to the whites. And I'm going to stick with a cooler highlight for that, and then we'll try and put some photo filters over the top to see how they look. So that's what selective colors just kind of done. It's given it a bit more of a warmer take. Then I'm going to bring up photo filter, like I said before. We're going to see one of these warming filters and whether that will sort of give us a look that we're after. So I kind of like the yellow, but maybe at a lesser extent, or potentially the first warming filter that we saw. I actually like the first warming filter. I think I'm going to stick with that. I think it kind of gives that rosiness to the image, which I quite like. And I'm going to just bring the opacity down just a little bit though. And then I'm going to just bring up a curves adjustment layer as well, and we'll see how that's going to look. I'm just gonna kind of fiddle with the S-curve a little bit. We kind of want a little bit more, like I said, of a film look with it, so might just take a few goes to see what we can come up with here. So I kind of like that effect, but I'm going to bring the opacity down a little bit just so I don't screw up the curve too much. I'm just going to bring that down maybe about halfway. And that's given just a little bit more brightness to the skin. It has taken away a little bit of what we've done with black and white, but you can see it still kind of adds that little bit more definition and texture to the image. Now, as a finishing touch, I'm going to bring up a grain just to add to that film effect. So I'm going to duplicate the background layer, dragging that into the new layer button. And then I'm going to go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise. So we're going to stick to using Gaussian blur, and we're going to check monochromatic and leave it at around 13 to 14%. It's quite dense with the noise like that, but I am going to now go to the filter option again and go to blur and Gaussian blur. And we're going to blur that by 2 pixels. And then I'm going to just move the opacity down to what I think might be a good amount. So I'm going to zoom in. And I think maybe somewhere around 60% would be good for that, just to kind of give it that little bit more of a film effect. And now as a finishing touch, I'm going to go back to my dodge and burn layers and make sure that the skin is looking as even as possible. And I'm going to go to the dodge layer first and just do a few last minute global and local dodging and burning on certain areas. Okay, so I think I'm happy with the finished product now. So I'm going to take a snapshot and show you guys a full before and after. So this is the before and this is the after. So it's really created that nice kind of film effect with the color grading and the grain, which is kind of what I wanted for this. So before and after. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell to make sure you see all the videos that I have coming out in future. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please let me know in the comments section below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.